So I don't usually do intros for the show. It just starts. But, I'll make an exception in this case. So welcome to Void Signal. This is kind of a special episode because I've known you you've been a friend of mine for like five years now, something like that. It's 6 years. But my guest is artist and my good friend Cornelius Lewis. So you're who the fuck are you? Tell me why anybody would want to hear what you have to say.
Well, hello, Brian. Thank you for letting me cast my voice into the void. I don't know. I'm just I'm a weirdo that everybody wants to know. Nice guy, creative guy, funny, weird, trying to break out of things that might have been set in the past. Being afraid of moving forward or being afraid of putting your art out there, or just being your true authentic self. So coming into my my early 50s, I started thinking about, read a book called The Middle Passage, which helped me to trying to become more aligned with my true self, your true self being your true sense of being, not a person who's been affected or has layers from parents or abuse or neglect or friends or enemies or school or something, whatever traumas happened or whatever. All those layers should be gone by now. You should be able to be in a place where you can just be your true self, a true version of who this being is, whatever this character is. We don't know. Sure. Virtual reality or dreams, or we don't know what this thing is, but just trying to be my true self has allowed me to open up more. And I feel like it's really good to be able to, like, I had an art show recently. I've had work in group shows before, but I've always made things. I've always made monsters and robots and giant, what we're calling land puppets, which I've created 2 of those, which come off of a backpack, like 12 feet tall. The operator is down below and behind the legs. So you have the whole torso and head of the monster, the robot above you, and you move it around with the poles for the arms, and the legs are attached to your legs. So I've been creating things like that for a long time. But it's now I feel I'm brave enough to be able to go out and put things together in a, just like invite people in. Not that I care what anybody thinks, but it's awesome to be able to put together. When crippled thinking makes you feel like you haven't ever done anything in your life.
Sure.
Once you put together a group of a bunch of shit from however many years, 10 years, doesn't matter. But once you start putting together a bunch of pieces and you just can get a perspective of, oh, look at what I did. I like all these things. I created these things from nothing. And here is all this stuff that's representing, I don't know, my imagination or whatever. So to be able to see that out front, excuse me, in one collection is phenomenal. So why would you want to know me? I don't. Well, I'll tell you what, man. When I go out to brunch a lot by myself, I go out to bars sometimes by myself, so I like to just sit and be and listen. And if somebody comes down and sits next to me, or we engage in eye contact, we'll take off with the conversation. That person doesn't know the ride they're in for. Not Sure. Meaning that I'm a crazy guy that's going to hook them into some kind of tangents, but I'm going to open up or be present with somebody like I've known them for a long time.
Sure.
But at that exact same moment, my interior radar is going, I have to gauge how is this person going to react to my whatever. But going back to that true self thing, I would like to be able to just be an honest, true self in a moment with another human being. So if that gets, kooky or funny, or if I say something a little bizarre, I can realize that I can dial it back.
Sure.
But you'd be in. So why do you want to know me? You'd be in for a fun conversation.
I'll interject with why I think you're worth knowing. Then.
Oh, please, thank you.
So, I kind of put you on the spot of like, hit me with the Cornelius Lewis fucking PR speak. But So I guess so you are an artist, and when I first started getting to know you and learning about who you were and the things you've done, I was like, this is a person who has experienced things and done things and been unafraid to do so. And so there's a cunning sort of intellectual fierceness to you as a person. You are a full character, so you are always ready with an answer for most questions. Every now and again, I will see you at a show, and I'll be like, "Hey," and I'll wave at you, and you'll look through me like into another dimension, like I am not there. And that's fine. It's the cost of your genius, I guess. but I mean, like, honestly, like, so you've made underground publications, you did underground magazines, promoting. You've been in all kinds of scenes, been to almost every single Burning Man. You've been to a tremendous amount of concerts, a tremendous amount of festivals, and encountered tons of people, traveled abroad many times. Like, you have done a lot in your 50 years. I guess you were a person worth knowing to me, I guess. And I do have to say, like, not to get too goopy for a second, but like, I do feel quite privileged and quite lucky and fortunate that we didn't know each other. It was my first day at this shitty job, and I was like getting the tour, and you like barge into the kitchen. What's your name? Hello, like shaking my hand, and it was just like instant. Like, and so when you talk about like being 100% present with a person and like treating them like you've known them forever, that's exactly the experience. That was, what you had to deliver as a person, as an authentic person. And it has really inspired me to sort of up my game a little bit, of be like, I need to be a little bit more in this fucking moment and trying to connect with people while I can, show some kindness while I can. So thank you for all of that, but that's why I think you're worth knowing. I'm sure you would disagree.
Bless you. No, I would go along with that. I think that I don't mean to be an ego at all, but no, thank you. That's really lovely. Just trying to be in the moment, being authentic at that, just seeing you, I immediately knew. And I know you don't like to go along with this kind of back life, talk, but
sure.
It's not, I'm not one of those people that feels like I knew you from, you and I in the 1800s, we were buddies in a war with, no, it's just, I see a a spirit that's like myself in ways. So I always have been identifying, when you see somebody that's a bright light, try to go over and acknowledge that person, be brave enough to go and acknowledge them, because I feel like I'm trying to undim my bright light and get it brighter. And so I find that I meet bright lights out there in the world. And when I see them, I'm now trying to be not shy and not afraid to be able to just go right up and go, hello, you look, I don't want to be weird, but you look
cool,
you have a weird, story. Interesting. Yeah. I like your vibe. I like your hair. I like whatever. You look at the way you're holding yourself, your the power, excuse me. So yeah, I've been trying to do that lately. And that is really, it's phenomenal, because it helps to just being in the moment is like, that's why we're here, to be human beings, to be in this 3D moment. It is hard to be a human being. It is really hard. But, we need so much sleep, and we need to just fucking close down and recharge and all that. Well, maybe I'm speaking to myself, but when you find yourself in a moment, be it walking by yourself in nature or in some brand new city, or meeting somebody for the first time, or meditating, or in whatever moment you're in, you've got to just like open to it and try not to have any expectations of it. And definitely try not to be judging self during those moments in any way. Like, from past echoes, that's where I'm trying to get to, is, releasing past echoes, self-judgment, that might have been put there by parents or religious figures or teachers or whatnots, to where you question your own self, question the thing you're creating, question your art, question your words, question your thoughts, your actions. To stop those questionings, we just need to let go of those ghosts, those voices in the past that are just kind of stuck on a loop.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been just trying to do that a lot lately, probably for about 10 years. And it's a fantastic way. It opens my eyes all the time. I didn't tell you, but derailing.
No. Go on.
Derailing. When we were just at that dark wave goth dance show that my friend D6 and his family put on, I've never felt more good or alive at a show or at a dance or at anything forever. It's like something new has started to happen. This pure joy, letting go of those layers, those ghosts in the past that are telling you, oh, you should feel bad about that thing you did when you were a kid, or when somebody did something to you, you should feel bad about. Once you can relieve those things, the joy from inside starts filling, and then the joy in every moment. And I don't want to sound extra kooky or spiritual, but the joy in that moment when you're alive and you're seeing the lighting, the smell, the way something is moving, the shape, the voice, the interaction, everything comes together. Everything is everything. It's all. And once you can just start to lose barriers and walls from letting all come to you and realizing you are all. Another thing I've been thinking about recently is the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is translated loosely to the jewels in the heart of the lotus.
What language is this?
I think it's Sanskrit.
Okay.
So the jewel in the heart of the lotus, referencing everybody as a piece of the divine or a piece of the universe inside them. That's what's driving them. That's what's activating us and making us move around. We're not a corpse. We're this thing. Everyone has that in them. So that mantra is trying to help me to, you acknowledge and honor it inside of you. Oh, I recognize you. I see you're in there. Then you have to turn it outwards and acknowledge and recognize it in everyone else out there. And sometimes in my mind, it turns it into a black and white thing, us, them. So it's like them, I acknowledge the God in them, the universe in them, the light in them, I acknowledge them. But in my mind's eye, I'm seeing just people driving down the freeway. We're walking to school with the kids. I'm pushing the grocery store or a cart in the grocery store. I can imagine the light in them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
And if they don't acknowledge it, that's fine. Because that's one of being a human being, we have a infinite number of choices of action. So you could choose to, I'm sorry, man. I just derailed myself. I got all ramped up and then I just lost where I was going.
No, it is totally fine. Let me actually pause you right there. Because let me take my boots off? Can we go up to your office? I'm just there's an echo in here and a fish tank and stuff. And I want to make sure that I'm getting what you have to say.
Okay.
So I will stop this. I will add. Okay. So, you don't remember what we were talking about, and that's fine because you had just lost your place.
I was barely ramping up to something, man.
You had hit us with the quote, Sanskrit quote, and then you were kind of ramping up to talking about life and people interacting. But I do want to talk about your art, so I guess we'll go ahead and detour to that.
Oh, sure.
So how long have you been making art or trying to create, and what are your mediums?
Oh, okay. So in college, I was a photography major, but I'd been drawing and illustrating my whole life since I was, 5 years old. Always drawing and making little weird comic books and whatnot. So started really creating in college. College opens your mind up in different ways. So doing photography, experimenting with lighting, using different kinds of photo taking devices.
Sure.
So we've got a Polaroid, and then we've got a pinhole camera, and then we're doing the long exposure with the shutter and using flashlights and painting. So photography, and then the household I was living in was a bunch of weirdo art major dropouts, and we'd just make crazy videos all the time. Science fiction themed things, or just ridiculous things, or funny skits that we thought we were whatever. And had a crew of about 6 or 7 people, and we made maybe 9 different pieces between 9 minutes and 20 minutes.
Sure.
You know, parodies. And the spy thriller was called Moonrock, and that was the one where there was no dialogue. It was just driven by a drum track by Darren Barnes, the DJ D6. So we filmed it pantomime, where it's a spy who needs to save a girl from an evil whatever. So it's just really basic stuff. But the shots we were doing were just trying to lift from things in our minds, from our memories, from action films, so, you know, the hero running down the street, and then the car chasing, and then the car going around the corner in the alley, and then the hero leaps over the car, and then, so we were doing all this, like, cutting it together, like, totally Benny Hill style, totally stop motion animation, kind of the cheapest effects and the lowest budge we could try to do, but try to pull it off.
Right.
But we would have film nights at our house, so we'd have people come in and watch the films all the time. At the same time of making movies, I was also producing the zine you were talking about, which was Intruder Alert. So Intruder Alert, I did that.
Which you gave me a copy. I still have it. Thank you.
That's awesome. I know a lot of folks who have like, this has never left the reading basket next to my toilet for 15 years. No, Intruder Alert was fun. That was me just trying to rip off the Church of the Subgenius books with the visuals and the striking small little blasts of insane writing or whatever. So yeah, I put together that comic zine. Ridiculousness, way out there, having no context, kind of based on TV Guide and the Weekly World News, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And just taking graphics from things and writing new and doing fresh art. So that's really when things started ramping up. I started painting on the big scale, the 8-foot tall by 4-foot wide panels of wood. We started painting on a big scale for Burning Man. 96 was the first year I went. 98 was the year that I did a gallery of 35 pieces. That's these.
Okay.
And friends of mine did 6 to 7 of them, and then I did the rest. And they were monsters, weirdos, cartoon characters, space people. And so we put up this massive gallery. We had a corner site right on the Esplanade corner. Early days of Burning Man, it wasn't so city structure, chaos, weirdo. So we just put them together in A-frames and had this massive gallery. And that really lit my fire. Like, wow, I can put together crazy weird stuff that I kind of like, and maybe somebody else would like it or at least appreciate it. Let me keep working on that. So picked up the paintings of the big ones again this year, 2023. And that's when I was painting Hotshot the Robot as Star Wars A New Hope landscapes. So combining that with what I was talking about earlier, the monsters. Okay, I guess I have to tell a side story about Hugo is the name of a robot, which is the puppet that I was speaking about, the land puppet. Yeah. So you have the frame of a backpack holding supports up off of your shoulders, off of your hips. The robot is in front. You're piloting him from below.
And this is a thing you have built.
Yes, because Darren commissioned me to, he's been my muse. He's not really commissioning me, but just like, in 30 days, we're going to go to the Voodoo Festival in New Orleans. Hotshot the Robot is going to be there. I want you to build a giant land puppet robot that we can drive around, because we're going to get artist access and we're going to be able to stay in the camp. Okay, cool. So just started working with recycled plastics and PVC and manufactured this behemoth, which in the end was way too heavy. I've ended up making it smaller and more lighter, but it's still not light. There's like 40 pounds up above your shoulders and head and neck.
Yeah.
You're walking with this thing that you're strapped to.
Yeah.
But Barnes is a workhorse. Darren wore that thing for 3 hours at the Voodoo Fest.
Damn.
And I'm not an engineer, so I'm just an idiot artist. So I'm just thinking, how is this gonna... Anyway, the thing was too tall and it was leaning so far forward, we had to have a little cable attached to the back of its neck to where one of the guys that was in our crew had to walk behind it, holding it like a Macy's Thanksgiving Day float so it wouldn't topple forward on people. But its effect was dynamite because it's 13, 14 feet tall and he's walking through the center of the crowd. So if you back off and kind of watch, there's this giant Tinker Toy looking square 1950s-ish sort of robot walking through the crowd.
Yeah.
That's when we took that puppet bot to the...
Hang on. Okay. I just had to make sure it was still going.
We took that puppet bot to the, who's that Portland band that their drums and Marching Forth marching band.
I don't know why you were trying to get me to that.
Oh, because you're a music guy.
I've never done that.
Okay. Marching Forth marching band. They're very crazy, fun, energy marching band, and then they get to a stage and just start playing kind of ska kind of stuff and dance hall stuff. And
all right.
Anyway, they're super cool. So they're up there playing. We walk in with the robot, get to the center. Immediately, they have kind of a circus atmosphere. So they have stilt walkers, and immediately the stilt walkers come up to the robot because he's as tall as they are. He's 14 feet tall. So one of them starts humping him from behind, and the other one starts sexy dancing in front of. And Barnes is trying to animate the robot as good as he can, and the whole place came to a standstill. And the Marching Forth marching band on stage is like, "Wow, that is the coolest robot dancing with our stilt people." It was fucking phenomenal. So having Barnes be my muse and say, "You must build this thing," caused me to build that thing.
Sure. So you worked in a lot of mediums creating.
Oh,
art.
yes. So stencils, that's another thing when I do robots on like 14 by 16 wood panel, like from the 60s wood panel.
Sure.
Okay, so stenciled robots, 4 or 5 different layers of color, and they're mostly Star Wars robots. But so stencils and spray paint, and then with the big panels, rollers, brush, spray paint. And then in the sculptural medium, recycled plastic, chicken wire, PVC, cloth, just generic stuff. But during Halloween is when I come unglued and just make, like my menagerie of monsters, I think is up to about 7 or 8 right now.
Yeah.
And, they're all different, creepy, weird things. Not like, oh, I made... Jack Skellington from the movie. Here's my thing. Like crazy, coming up with things out of my own head. The pumpkin seer would be the second land puppet. The pumpkin seer is a scarecrow type character that sat up in the backpack. Its lower legs were vines and tree branches. Its center was 2 massive jack-o'-lanterns smashed together. It had very thin, long arms that are wrapped in like autumn leaves, the plastic autumn leaves, dripping down. So it's got kind of a tree effect to it. And then a much smaller jack-o'-lantern head that's lit up. So that thing, it could walk around during Halloween and just freak people out because you don't know. They have no reference to what this thing is. This is this crazy lit up jack-o'-lantern that's 13 feet tall, staggering down. So that thing stayed as a puppet for probably 3 years. And then because I'm a dummy and not an engineer, like the center of it collapsed on itself. And it tipped over one year and had a very massive problem. So then I just tried to make him littler. So he still stands as a scarecrow, but none of my puppets work anymore. I need help with my engineering.
All right. Fair enough. So you've made a lot of art. Well, okay, so I do note that robots are a recurring theme and a thing that you love. I mean, your home is decorated in robots. It is a love we share. But why robots? What brought you to robots?
Wow, robot. That goes back to, the Star Wars gene being activated in 1976. I wasn't really into sci-fi until I saw that thing on the big screen. And R2-D2 and C-3PO are like, what the hell is this? This is, I want a robot. I want that robot. I want to be a robot. So from there, it just kind of ripples outward. And then the love affair starts. You start tracking down other robots. Remember one of my favorites, and this is in one of the paintings, Sparky Moving Weirdo. He's the little tiny wind-up guy with the dome head. He's probably not in that photograph. Okay, well, anyway. Don't know if you remember that. Tyco Toys, maybe, about 2 inches tall, dome head, little stubby arms.
Maybe
you wind it up and it would walk, and its head would go... Sparky Moving Weirdo.
I know. Okay, I do know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I never had one.
Oh, okay. We had a bunch of them. They worked well when we played with our Star Wars guys. It's like, these robots can be part of this universe. So you don't have to be strict about who's going to be involved in our playtime. We can put other robots in there.
Star Wars comes in all flavors. Everybody's welcome in Star Wars. Goddamn it. Unless you're part of the Empire who are fascists.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, but okay, so that's how you landed on the robot.
Yeah, robot. It started from there. It started from seeing A New Hope on the big screen as a little kid and just having my whole Star Wars and science fiction brain explode.
Okay.
And then just like seeking it out. And then you start going back in time. You're like, oh, Robbie the Robot and Lost in Space. And then this is kind of silly now, but Buck Rogers had a modern reboot in the 80s. And there was a little tiny looking robot named Tweaky. So Tweaky he had all the funny lines, and he had a computer brain in his chest that could answer all the questions. And then he's just like, I want to answer all the questions. I want to be made of metal.
Yeah. Fair enough. I do quite share your love of robots. Maybe not as in depth, but I do feel compelled to confess this. So, I own Robbie. You mentioned Robbie the Robot. I have a Forbidden Planet shirt that I love, and I have a Forbidden Planet poster in a very nice frame. Wow. Like, it is a nice poster. It looks great. I love it. I've not, and I even have a Forbidden Planet sticker on the side of my computer. I've never seen Forbidden Planet. I am what you might call a poser. I just fucking like Robbie the Robot, holding the fucking damsel fucking thing. I just like it. Like, so, that's why I bought this.
The aesthetic, no, you can be a fan of the aesthetic.
It's 100%. Fucking just cool. Like, I don't want to sit through some problematic old movie. Like, it's...
yes, that's true. They're better as Mystery Science Theater.
There you go.
But...
Sure. More robots.
Yes.
But, yeah, thanks for letting me unburden myself.
Of course. That's very exciting. I'm very happy for you.
So you've made a lot of visual art. Have you, but you've never made music, even though, like, I know you as, like, a music person. Like, that is a thing that, like, we bonded over pretty quickly because, like, you're into a lot of metal, but, I mean, you're like me, like, oh, I like this thing and this flavor and that, and I don't care what genre it is or how new it is or what style it's. If it's cool, I will feel it. Like, so how like, what would you describe as your, like, sort of musical background?
Man, I wish I would have been disciplined enough to learn how to play electric guitar when all my friends were playing guitar in the 83.
Yeah.
But never.
That's the year I was born.
Oh, interesting. I was with a bunch of ruffians throwing rocks inside of snowballs at cars down the hill.
Wow. Awesome. You were being a delinquent in the world.
It's scary. It's scary.
So no music. Ever,
No, just going to shows and realizing that, God damn, man, just being live with people that are into it. You feel that energetic thing. Fans, when you're just surrounded by fans, it's so cool. And music makes me going, man. I was just thinking of that. There was a question on the subreddit about in Metal We Trust subreddit, like what riff really gets you going? And for me, it's High on Fire, Frosthammer. It's like the second that song starts, you just start feeling energized and like, whoa,
okay,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't know it.
Okay, High on Fire is dynamite.
But I do have an answer to that question.
Do tell.
It is it would count as industrial metal, I guess, but it's by Bile, and it's what the fuck is it called? Hold on, it's so close. Take Target Out.
Okay.
And it's just like this heavy, grindy, fucking razor's edge of a guitar riff, and I just want it to saw me in half. I just like every time I hear it, man, I'm just like, just split me down the fucking middle, like just like it's so
I get it.
visceral. I love it. I love it. So yeah, yeah, I feel you. That's a good. That's a good answer. So what aside from your art, I mean, I know that's a thing that you're gonna keep doing, but you know, you've gone to a lot of different places. You've been to like Nepal and Scotland and a ton of places.
Yeah. Indonesia and Spain and France and Germany.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're sort of still wanting to do or get to?
Oh gosh, yeah. I really want to see more of those World Heritage sites. Like the really ancient, as far as we consider human beings to be ancient as we can. World Heritage sites are something else, man. In Indonesia, we went to, it was like the oldest Buddhist temple, and it was all hand-carved stone, and on the face of each hand-carved stone is a relief, and they all put it together like, you know, showing the life of the Buddha. And the stones were so perfectly aligned, you could not fit a credit card between them, and there was no mortar. It's like people had skills, man. I don't know, but being in such an ancient place and just letting yourself be there and feel it and walk around and touch the stone, it's just like, that's really something else, man. That's connecting to your genetic history as a human, as a humanoid, you know, just trying to go all the way back to when we're running across the tundra.
Right. An ancient person tried to make a thing that mattered.
Oh man. Yes. And like multiple highly skilled in a time where you can't imagine conflict, just people are wanting to create things because that's what they want to do. So the society takes care of itself in that moment to do that thing. You know, just like indigenous people on all the continents coming together and massive sites where, you know, maybe 3, 4, 6 months out of the year, that's where the game is. That's where the wild things are growing that we eat. And we all come together as one big, massive group. And we work on one big, giant project. Like let's see, in the South, I wish I was better at this. There's a massive, like, man-made mountain that tribes of Aboriginal people in North America had built over the course of 6,000, 8,000 years. Just this like massive handmade, like the largest earthen work in the Northern Hemisphere.
Right.
So imagining a time when that was going down, like where there's abundance, nobody's bossing anybody around, everybody is just living how they want to. And as a collective, we're eating, we're drinking, we're fucking, we're building this massive whatever. Now, they say that Gölbekli Tepe in Turkey is something that is that. Meaning, people from regions all around would come together for 2, 3, 4 months at a time, hang out there, party, drink mead, and work on this stone works. These massive stoneworks that are, you know, clearly over 10,000 years old. So just artistry, patience, community, and time again coming to the same spot with the same goal to create this thing that's going to have an impact on others. If you walk up on one of those World Heritage sites, you know, a temple from the 1600s or 1400s, or just some laid to waste Roman ruins or something, it's just like, man, I really can pick up on the creativity here. You know, the people just gave their will to make these things. And then I know that there were slaves, of course, slave labor to do things like that. But I don't know where I'm going with that either.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's a whole road of like, I mean, that was fucking horrible. What can I do about it now? Fucking nothing. I can try and make sure it doesn't happen now, but that's again a whole other. We're trying to say
that's a can of worms, baby.
Divert away from politics. Stay on talking about art and shit.
And shitty art.
Yeah. And your shitty ass
God bless and my shitty ass art.
Do you have a piece that you're like particularly proud of that you're like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever made?
I'm more narcissistic with my art. I love a lot of the stuff I do.
Okay.
So the Halloween monsters, when I put them all out in the yard for the month of October and position them and get the lighting and just stand back. I'll go out at night and just stand and just look at them. I'm just like, oh, Daddy's here, boys. And I pretty much am really into the thing I'm doing at that moment.
Sure. Okay.
There's
That's fair.
some other artists who will create something then hate the thing they just did. Well, I'm like, I might be really into the thing I'm doing now, but I really like that thing I just did.
Yeah.
Because I'll try to pour everything I can into the thing. You know, I would never half-ass something. If I didn't like what I was seeing or what was happening, I would step back from it, maybe put another sheet of primer over it and start again in that spot, or do another drawing until it hit right, and just keep going, never half-assed. That was the thing about art school, is where everybody makes excuses for their work. They just, I'll put this together tonight and it's due tomorrow. Tomorrow's the critique. But when you get to a point where you just want to build things and create things for yourself and then to share with others, there's no like, I'm going to wait till tonight to put something out tomorrow. You know, I'm going to work on this thing as much as I can. And that's been a huge switch in my life, is being able to devote myself to doing the thing that I love, to not let procrastination kind of rob me, you know, or to not let self-judgment go. Well, that very first stroke of your pen or paintbrush or whatever the fuck doesn't look perfect. Don't even try that ever again. You know, that's the old mentality that used to go on. If I couldn't sit down and do a drawing and have it look just like the comic book, just like Conan or something, then I'd just be like, well, you shouldn't even do that ever again. Why would you even try it? You know, that negative voice shit?
Yeah, sure.
You got to tell that thing to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because that voice is your own.
You got that right.
It says things to you that you would never say to another person.
Yes.
Or at least most of us would not.
Yes.
But you especially.
Yes. We treat ourselves the worstest inside our own heads.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way to get deep.
Yeah, man. Wow. That was good.
It's good shit, man. All right. Well, let me try and think of another good question for you.
Sure.
Let me just gather my thoughts here.
Take your time, man. There's no pressure.
I asked you about music and travel and what else is there? Okay, so you've been to Burning Man a lot.
Yes.
Is it a thing that you would recommend?
Oh, it's not for everybody. I mean,
sure.
The whole
Let me rephrase. Let me put this a different way.
Of course.
What do you feel it? Because you've been to it like 16 times or something like that. Right?
Yes.
What do you feel it has given you? Because I mean, that's 16 times is a lot of your time, money, energy. Like it's an investment.
Yeah, I think the one it shifts and switches around a lot, but the one main thing is when you get to be in a spot with a bunch of like-minded people who nobody has a pressure to sell you anything or go to a job, or everybody's just in party mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a whole community of people that can just go, just let that burden go and just, well, I'm going to not wear underwear and put on this tutu and get on a bicycle. I mean, it's just like, it's that kind of thing. And the people that we meet out there, like nowadays, the group that I go out with, Robotronia, back to robots again, our whole goal is to build attractions and pieces and robots that interact and draw people in. So then we bring people in, we meet everybody. You just meet people, and people are just at that level when you're camping in a blasted out desert with nothing, and you bring it, and then the nighttime turns on and it's just like this neon, death circus from hell and heaven, and it's just like thundering music, and people are like children out there. It's more of a playtime, a fun, like, hey guys, want to ride our bikes over there and look at that 74-foot tall, T-Rex that we could climb on? Yeah. It's that kind of a thing. So that's what keeps bringing me back over there. That and, just my friends. And then if you go as many times, you start getting a circle of friends that you only see out there. And so it's those kind of people you want to make connections with. Because you might not, it's like me and you. It's like connecting with somebody and you keep a connection there. It feels more immediate and no pretension and not trying to mask or project something different. It's more pure, the connection, person to person. So, I have a pocket full of people that I have from out there. And I just like being able to meet the folks, because then you don't feel alone in the world. You don't feel like, wow, there's only one weirdo like me. No, you get to meet 78,000 of them.
Right.
And a few uptight people mixed in, of course, but everybody has their own trip.
yeah, that's right.
No, Burning Man's awesome. But like I said, it's not for everyone. It's not to be, don't believe those fashion shoots that they do at sunset with the, the sleek model and the 400 feet of orange cloth blowing in the sun. I mean, that's fun, but that might be a brief 14 minutes on the playa, then a 40-mile-an-hour windstorm comes in and everything goes fucking ass over teacups. But I like that too in the early days. The early days meaning no cell service out there. Nobody had communication to the outside world. So being out there, it's like it was the old days, if somebody was, people will be walking down the street and you just hear this murmur coming, and the people will be like, oh, Paul Oakenfold is playing over at this camp over here right now. And then everybody would just go and see like a premier DJ in the desert and trip out and freak out. If there was, I remember like an alarm being passed down the way, like, massive windstorm coming. And everybody's yelling that down the road. And so we all started battening down the hatches. And within like 5 minutes, this thing just hit us, just boom.
Yeah.
And we had to run over to the neighbor's camp and grab poles and ropes because their whole fucking awning thing wanted to be a kite and wanted to go. And they didn't know how to secure the shit. They'd never been out there before. But, you have to batter down. You have to rely on your wits and your ingenuity. And you have to have good friends. And you have to just be ready to go balls to the wall, because like this year, I didn't go this year, but Logan went.
Yeah.
And just to have the thing flooded out, like a year's worth of rain in 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. It's mental. Did you see those AI pictures that AI made of actual news photos from this year?
No.
But then making them like a horrible twist.
No,
like,
I did not.
You know, truck stuck all the way up to its back axles, people standing on it with fire, explosions, helicopters, like putting all these elements into one image. Yeah. Really brilliant. Really beautiful.
No, I didn't see it.
Scary though.
I mean, it sounds like you've been enriched quite a bit from this.
Oh, definitely. I would, yes, 110%. The very first time I went, 1996, that was the last year before they started putting the fence up. So if the thing started in 86 on Baker Beach in California and San Francisco, then 96 is when I started going. 96 was the last year of the old traditions. So there was a whole guard of people that dropped off after their 10 years from 86 to 96. But 96, the theme was called Hellco, and everybody kind of embraced a more demonic kind of thing. And on burn night, people were just going around happily having fun, not like a riot, not like Firefest, but having fun. Like, you know, there was that giant decoy duck over there that somebody built. You guys want to go burn it? And 400 people would go, ah! Yeah. And we just gently walk over and So the next morning there was burned to the dust couches and artwork and garbage, and it was I had the greatest time in the world. Yeah. We didn't contribute in that way. We took all of our stuff with us. We didn't burn couches, but that was the last like freedom year. That was like gutter punks and San Francisco guys that just spray bridges and weirdo engineers and rocket propelled go-karts and homemade flying contraptions like lawn chair that guy's sitting on, that he built these cloth wings above him and giant propeller attached to the back of lawn chair, and he goes buzzing over our heads about 20 feet, just kind of gently waving and slow motion. And then kooky guy on rocket car just like goes whipping by. Yeah. Lots more fire bombs, fireworks, smoke bombs, way more dangerous explosive shit back in the early days. Fireworks shows every single night. Just everyone brought high grade fireworks. The boom mortar. Fucking A. Yeah, that was the last year of that.
And I mean, out there, I'm sure, like hearing everything.
You lose your marbles. No fences, no lighting, no streets. Yes, portas. One rave camp had one laser beam that went up in the air that was a mile that direction. So at night, everybody would just walk, bicycle, car, motor scooter, wheelchair towards the beaming thing in the sky going across that endless playa. Just the most surreal image. Yeah. Like being in the streets of Nepal where it's, you know, a handcart, a motorcycle, a Bugatti, a bicycle, a bus, a yak, just everything is just kind of going with the flowing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're an interesting guy, Corey. I don't know what to say. I just like could sit here and listen to you fucking tell me about all kinds of shit for hours.
I would bore the shit out of your listeners.
No, I mean I don't give a shit. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you all night just because I also have shit I have to get to. I'm not here just as much as you want, Corey. Like I have fucking stuff to do. But the other thing I did want to ask you is just what's something that you're enjoying right now, and your answer can be anything. Just like what's something that you are jazzed about. Like,
I'll tell you what. My daughter just turned 21, so the idea of going to shows with her as a 21-year-old person, because we've gone to shows where she's underage, but that's what's really turning me on. But her last two shows I went to with her, it was underage shows where they had to seclude us up to the balcony in a corner overlooking the band, which ended up to be really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But,
it sounded like she had a good time.
Yeah, she had a great time at Behemoth, and then we went to see Amigo the Devil, and that's her jam. That's her man. So she's scream singing all the lyrics back to him, and they were really good that night.
Yeah.
Really on fire.
Nice.
So shows are what's firing me up right at this moment. And that's it. That's
okay.
Snow skiing is even kind of paling to it right now. Everybody's like, "Did you go up? Did you go up yet?" And I'm not that desperate yet.
Yeah.
I'm more looking forward to burning witches.
Yeah. Logan's already gone. He went last week.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to be going to shows too. I will give the same answer actually. It's just like because seeing Behemoth was phenomenal. What a great show! And then being able to catch like Ash Has Fallen, and going out to events, going to goth nights and dance nights and all kinds of shit. Like it's fun, man. It's nice to be alive again, like because be out connecting. I had such a blast when we went to decompression.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, the decompression party was such a blast. I love that you just didn't pay and just walked in because you had a fucking event. You had a jacket and you had the fucking staff lanyard, and I'm like, I didn't know you were working this, and you're like, I fucking am not. I just walk in and I'm like, fucking right. Too cool. It was too cool, Corey. Just like, fuck, all right.
Make your own badges with the word staff on it and just walk in. It works. Have the confidence, stride right on in. Point to the thing if they start to give you a glance.
Yeah. If you look like you should be there, no one's going to ask you why you are there.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Not gonna... That's fucking great. All right. Well, that's it, man. I got nothing else.
That was wonderful. So, I appreciate you so much, dude.
Thanks for coming on and being on the show. Void Signal intro and outro music courtesy Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor, and visit voidsignal.net to help support the creation of more Void Signal. Thank you.